Also, Olympic athlete Saul Morrow has refused to comment on the kidnapping of his scientist father Cal and the subsequent murder.
The Amiga was the lead platform for development when it came to Wolfchild, and it shows, with the game making good use of the hardware. Wolfchild starts off with a cinematic introduction, which is rather nice and features some pretty clean speech. The game itself contains music and sound effects at the same time, which is not too common on the Amiga. It also features relatively smooth parallax scrolling. Colours used are kinda dark, but it's a look of its time, so we can't be too critical about that. Gameplay is also typical of the time, when it comes to home computer games. Loads of cheap deaths, enemies that appear right in front of you, and blind jumps. Still, to this game's credit, it does actually make use of two different buttons. One for attacks and another for jumping. That's quite a big deal in the home computer world, where pushing up is normally used for jump. Of course, you can still do that in this game. It's just a shame that there's no third button, since using bombs is a pain in the arse. The method to use them is rather clunky, an odd timing of pushing down from a jump while hitting the attack button.
Olympic athlete Saul Morrow has refused to comment on the kidnapping of his scientist father Cal.
The first port we're going to take a look at is for the Atari ST. This one starts off well, featuring the same introduction as the Amiga original, but it all goes downhill from there. For the start, the 2-button control system has gone, which makes the game instantly more annoying to play. Yeah, I know computer game fanboys will disagree with me there. But it doesn't end there. The scrolling is now jerky and missing all of the parallax scrolling. The audio is much worse, and you can no longer have sound effects and music playing together. It's either one or the other. With all these poor points in mind, it's hard to even recommend the ST port. Now this is where things get much better. We're onto the console ports. This Mega Drive version does seem to suffer in the colour department compared to the Amiga original. However, all other aspects are arguably better. We've now got much more refined gameplay, silky smooth scrolling and 3-button controls. So no more awkward bum usage. Some of the stages have also been slightly rearranged to make them less annoying, and a few enemy placements changed to lessen the chance of a cheap death, although they are still present. Some people may also appreciate the soundtrack on this version, along with the introduction of area intro screens. Sadly, the cool intro is missing from this port.
News just in, Nobel scientist Cal Morrow has been kidnapped in an attack which resulted in the brutal murder of his wife and eldest son. It is suspected that Carl Drax and the Chimera terrorist organization were behind the abduction.
Back in the day, a lot of reviewers stated that the Mega CD port of Wolfchild was just the same as the Mega Drive game. Obviously, they never played past level 1. This Mega CD port is expanded upon the original game with new areas and rearranged versions of original stages. It also features an extended introduction. Even the transformation sound effect is of much higher quality. So as you can see, this is by far more than just a simple port of the Mega Drive version with some CD audio added. Here we go with the Super Nintendo port, also handled by Core Design. This is by far the most beautiful to look at of all the ports so far. The game features so much more detail, such as transparent clouds on stage 1 or the rain on stage 2. As for the level design, well, it's based upon the Mega CD port but lacks the extra stages. The music is also based upon the Mega CD version with frankly amazing renditions. I may even prefer them to the Mega CD Red Book audio. Not all is great with this port, mind you. While it was developed by Core, the team behind it is different. This game now feels a little stiffer and certain enemies seem to take more hits to kill. This results in a game which just doesn't feel as fresh as the Mega CD port. It's quite a shame because this certainly does look nice. I'm quite surprised Wolfchild was even ported to the Master System. In terms of looks, you can see that it's pretty well done. Everything has a nice size to it, and from what I can see, there's no sprite flicker. Gameplay is a little slow and the controls a little floaty, yet the game still appears to be easier than the other ports. Unfortunately, there's no in-game music in this version. The Game Gear port is based upon the Master System version. However, the areas have been arranged to suit the lower resolution of the Game Gear screen. Besides that, it's pretty much the same as the Master System. And let's take a look at all those versions of Wolfchild running side by side.